Well, guys, today's the day. The first day of Donald Trump's second term as President of the United States. He won even harder than he did last time, and now he has all the power that any individual could honestly ever hope to have. I just noticed here that Tucker Carlson is in the crowd just beaming in the inauguration speech, like really close to the front, despite the fact that he has private messages of him that were leaked by the court showing that he hates Donald Trump and is only saying positive things about him for a paycheck. So I guess he's putting on a fake smile, which is really funny when you know about that. Getting these things out of the way, apparently, at some point, despite I haven't watched this whole speech, to be clear, I'm going in blind for you guys, but at some point, Elon Musk just literally Sieg Heils. I'll show a clip of it a little later if we don't see it in this video, but this is a good artist's representation of what happened and exactly how it went. This is damn near photorealistic, actually. But yeah, Donald Trump and Elon Musk now rule America. It is time for us to find out what that entails if we didn't already know. Oh boy. By the way, that's Tucker Carlson, I think, just cheesing right there in the audience. I like how Donald Trump was so unconfident about crowd size that he decided to hold his inauguration in this cramped auditorium place so that, like, you couldn't really make the argument that his crowd was small because you couldn't really fit more people than there already are in that building. The building's packed full. So it's like, what do you mean my crowd size was small? We packed the building wall to wall. Oh my god, why do I keep rapping today? What the fuck is happening? Did I get bitten by, like, a radioactive rap spider or something in my sleep? Like, why is everything that I say, I keep on trailing on into rhyming? It's crazy. I got bitten by a spider that also bit Eminem. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much, everybody. Well, thank you very, very much. Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush.
Okay, I know my chat is covering it up right now, but, like, Kamala Harris looks stern. Joe Biden looks like he's just fed up with everything and wants to finally be able to retire. And then, for some reason, J.D. Vance looks like he's trying to not shit his pants. I'm not saying this to make fun of him. I'm just saying, like, the face, the emotion he is orating, like his aura is emanating, I should say, is that of a man desperately trying not to shit his pants. And there's a good chance that the Taco Bell he had last night is kicking his ass right now, and he is like, oh, fuck, man. Oh, because that face looks like the face of a man in crisis. And he has no reason to be. It would have been McDonald's. You're not wrong. It would have been McDonald's. He wouldn't eat Taco Bell.
President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens.
Why do you say it like that?
The golden age of America begins right now.
A few moments later. Yeah, like, you just know that, like, the universe has set up such an amazing punchline with that particular setup there, right? Like, that line right there was made to then, like, segue into a few moments later, and then just America on fire. The perfect punchline has been set up in front of us before our very eyes.
From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first.
Do you remember back when... Yeah, I know, he stuttered. Do you remember back when America First was literally nothing but a Nazi slogan that, like, Nick Fuentes fans would say? And then Nick Fuentes and Donald Trump had dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and now it's become his motto. It's become Trump's main motto. It's honestly beaten Make America Great Again, the America First motto.
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored.
Our sovereignty will be reclaimed? What sovereignty have we lost?
The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department.
You gotta know, this is just all meant to play to the crowd, and it's also meant to excuse himself. In America, we've had a culture for a while now of just hating authority and hating the government. And so if you can tell a crowd that the authority hates you, that you're just this guy standing up for the people against the man, then they will back you. And any amount of accountability you're held to will just be seen as you being victimized by the system, being, having retributive action taken against you for standing up for the public. And so these talking points are not just meant to empower himself and sort of create this idea that the administration and establishment that has existed has been against him, but to also communicate to people that, yeah, I agree, the authority does suck, the government does suck, but I'm going to be the cool president. I'm the president for you. And of course, we already know that he's not.
And our government will end. And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before.
Let's be honest, most of Trump's rhetoric is Nazi dog whistles. It has been since the last 2 years of his last presidency. He was overtly Nazi in the last 2 years. To be honest, in the first 2 years of his presidency, Trump was still very mask on and acted a lot like he did during his run. He would even echo the sort of faux pro-LGBT talking points for the sake of fear-mongering about Muslims. But around the second half of his first presidency, we started to see the shift of the right getting a lot more insane, particularly in the lead up to COVID, the conspiracy theories and all that. And then that persisted harder and harder and just grew under Biden's presidency until we got to where we are now, where Donald Trump is a popularly elected president.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country, sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis.
These challenges will be annihilated. Time to find out if he's literal about that or if this is just Trump speak. That's the fun thing about Trump. He's extremely hyperbolic with his rhetoric. So he could literally mean anybody who challenges us, we're going to wipe them out. Or it could just mean that anything that challenges their path to their goals, they're going to overcome. And it's just Trump speaking like Trump. It's all meant to be very easy to explain away.
Crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have
He still thinks asylum seeker means that they came from an asylum.
Legally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly.
Remember, guys, FEMA did everything for the Appalachians, but they have completely bought this narrative that they were abandoned. It's really like I genuinely wish Biden had just like let all those Trump majority districts just drown and just get like mudslid into like the valleys of the Appalachians. He really shouldn't have done a damn thing for them, because if he ever thought that they weren't going to then immediately lie and said that he left them to die and did nothing, then he's a fool. He just saved people that would immediately throw sand in his face for trying to help them. I honestly think Biden really should have just said, fuck it. We go high, they proudly go low. Ah, man, I hope the left starts going lower, honestly.
And other states who are still
Yeah, there was many cases where FEMA workers were threatened by Trump supporters because Trump told them that FEMA was there to take their property and take their things. Yeah.
Suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we are watching fires still tragically burn. From weeks ago, without even a token of defense, they're raging through the house.
Listen to this. Because Trump, and everyone will interpret this as Donald Trump criticizing the leadership, but what he is actually criticizing and what he's actually saying is that the thousands and thousands of firefighters, including literal convicts that are like now being forced to work as like basically slave labor firefighters, although I think a lot of them are volunteers, have done nothing, and they're useless. Their work has been valueless, right? It's a very similar thing to like when Elon Musk accused that one, like, I think he was a British Special Forces diver who was going to save those kids, I think he did save those kids in the cave. And Elon Musk called him a pedophile because he said that the idea of building a small submersible, designing, building, and then using the small submersible to save the kids trapped in the cave was an unlikely idea. You know, it kind of reminds me of that. Like, these billionaire or millionaire, in the case of Trump, loser motherfuckers failing up into power and then nonstop talking down to those that actually put into the work to do something of value for society.
Houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have...
Didn't Trump become a billionaire recently because of his meme coin? Oh, yeah, I think he did, yeah. I meant to... well, I did cover it, but I covered it way before it was really, like, news anyone was talking about, so I'll probably do a follow-up segment on it, but everything I predicted about that Trump Liberty Financial coin was completely correct. He ended up rug pulling it, apparently, and it's just a blatant scam. Trump is now a billionaire because of it. Exactly what I said was going to happen happened. And obviously MAGA is defending this. Obviously, we all knew they would when the rug got pulled and all these MAGA people got scammed. We all knew that they would defend it, and they are.
We have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves, in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment...
If you're wondering why CNN, with like the camera work and everything, is playing into Trump's like narrative about how America has been betrayed, all these big media outlets are like hard pivoting to the right and trying to appeal to Trump supporters. That's why they've all lost like, I think about 75+% of their viewership base or subscriber base. They're all like, oh, if this country is shifting so hard to the right, we want to follow what Fox News and all these other companies have been, you know, making bank off of the last decade. and so they're all following it, and you know they're losing their progressive audience because of that. So yeah, if you're wondering why CNN is being so favorable to Trump with like the camera work and everything, that is why. CNN is all but pro MAGA now.
Moment on America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation.
I'm curious. I want to see. Let's just prep for the talking points really fast. Let's check out annual GDP growth percentage year by year. Do we not have data for 20? Oh no. We only have data for 2023. We don't have it for 2024 and 5. Regardless, if you consider it a valid way to track. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Hold on. All right, I think we're good. As my hair puffs up, I need a haircut. All right. What was I thinking? All right, the S&P 500. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so if you take the S&P 500 as a valid measure of the health of the economy, then you'll be happy to know that since 2022, about halfway into Biden's administration, as the pandemic started to have much less of an impact on global inflation, and obviously as Biden's policy was able to take effect, as you can see, everything is on the upward. This is the betrayal that Trump is talking about. But do you want to know what's going to happen? Assuming Trump doesn't actually follow through on the shit he ran on, and there is a good chance that he doesn't. There's a good chance Trump doesn't follow through on the tariff stuff or anything. If he didn't, you know his supporters would defend it. You know they would. They wouldn't care. And if so, if he just doesn't touch economic policy, we're going to see this chart continue to grow, just as it has under Biden's administration. And when it does, they're all going to pretend like it's because of Trump. Do you want to know when else they did that? Let's go back to 2007. 3.5 years of Bush. Or actually, no, I think it had been, correct me if I'm wrong, 7.5 years of Bush. And then, that's that big old recession that happened in 2008 to 2009. 2007 to 2009, really. Obama gets elected in 2008 in November. Oh, wow. You know, but by the time we're into, like, Obama's first term, things are growing. All right, okay, cool. By 2012, the end of Obama's first term, things have basically recovered almost to where they were before the recession. And it took another 4 years. But, I mean, obviously this is just the S&P 500. But to be fair, it is generally a pretty good... It maps onto the rate of economic happiness for America and recessions. You can see the recessions here, right? And so you can see that, like, then we elected Trump. We take a big hit. Obviously, this hit happened because of Bush. We're just repeating history all over again. People blamed this on Obama. Back in 2016 and 2015, people were saying thanks Obama when they claimed the economy was bad, despite the fact that towards the end of Obama's presidency, the economy was in a better place, at least using the S&P 500 as a map, than it was before the recession. It's always just been vibes. It's always been vibes. And then when it's not vibes, when they are willing to actually look at the data and look at these charts and stuff, it's only if they can manipulate the numbers, usually completely, like, in such a way that it's a lie, in order to benefit their sort of brand.
His glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history. And I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again.
You know, an event like that really is the stars aligning to create a martyr who gets to, like, become a martyr, but live to do every bad thing they could possibly do with that martyrdom. Like, the chances of it going that way, such that he could come out of it looking so good. Because I need you to understand, if you dislike Trump, you wish that Trump survived or you wish that Trump didn't survive the ear thing. But if you're neutral on Trump, or you like him, and trust me, way more people are neutral on Trump than outright dislike him. They thought that him getting back up after he was shot in the ear was the most badass thing they had ever seen. Like, America was immensely impressed by Trump getting up and pumping his fist in the air after he, like, survived getting shot. The fact that it winged him like that, so close, he was injured, but then got up, and like, the Secret Service guys were trying to pull him down as he, like, fist bumps the air with the American flag behind him. All of the paparazzi got, like, the ideal photo. Like, they all went for their money shot that they wanted, which of course served him best. All the stars aligned perfectly to create the ultimate martyr that could bring in fascism. Like, history books will tell this story as one in which that is a big moment in said story. The moment when a bullet whizzed through Trump's ear, and America thought that God saved him so he could save America, and it led to America's downfall. The history books will write about this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace.
All right. Everyone, I want to say this now because I feel like we're at our lowest watching this. You know, the left is kind of at its very lowest point right now. So I want to hammer this home now, okay? It is the left's fault that we're here. And I don't mean, like, the mainstream left. Don't get me wrong. They fucked up too. But I'd say the far left took a massive L this time around. People like Hassan, for instance, who just the other day Bernie Sanders did an interview with, were some of the largest critics of the sitting Democratic administration on the internet. I actually don't know if the average conservative content creator shit on Biden as much as Vosh, Hassan, and take your pick of other left-wing, leftist creators did. And Hassan has a massive audience of young people. How many of them do you think lived in Michigan? How many of them do you think lived in Pennsylvania? And they spent 4 years calling him Genocide Joe, Sleepy Joe, claiming he needs to step down because he's not mentally fit to be president. When's the last time you heard... Nobody was even willing to do the honest thing, which is cover the accomplishments of Biden. Cenk did a lot of that shit too. Yeah, it seems like Cenk Uygur and TYT are just going full, like, right-wing grift, though. Oh my god, so many people are getting on my case for pointing this shit out in the Discord. Yeah, it's completely true. Like, nobody was willing to create a... Back in 19 to 2020, we are in this era where everybody was shitting on Trump, and shitting on Trump was enough to make Biden look so good he got more votes than anyone has ever gotten in U.S. presidential elective history. It's never happened again, and it probably won't happen for a very long time that we see that many votes go to a candidate. It was a lot. And so, with that in mind, this time around, it couldn't just be about how bad Trump is. It couldn't just be like, look how bad Trump is, because it was back to being about Trump's words and interpretations of what he says. When Trump is not in power, I almost think he's guaranteed to win, because there's nothing that you can blame on him concretely that Americans will actually accept as his fault. But if he's president, then you can spend 4 years shitting on him, and there truly is no one to blame but him. It really is just the far, far right that can say, oh, well, yeah, Trump signed that executive order and it was really bad, but it was actually the deep state. You know, you have to be really bought in at that point. And so for the next 4 years, we are actually in a beneficial position. The game's been almost set to easy mode for us in a way, where convincing people is far easier. Things are going to get a lot worse, and they already are bad for a lot of people and aren't going to get any better under Trump, that's for sure. So being able to reach out to those people and you know, show them, have them recognize how bad things are, and they're very primed to do so these days. And the only people they can realistically blame are MAGA, are Trump and his cronies that now control the government. I have a feeling that we are going to be playing easy mode in the sense of convincing people and bringing people in. But the important thing is we don't create more Hassan-type leftists or Hassan-type progressives. We don't want people who will, yes, help get Trump out of office in 4 years, but then in another for the next 4, we'll spend it shitting on the sitting progressive administration, giving absolutely no credit where it's due, mind you, and just getting us right back into the same situation we're in. What's the point in continuously voting for progressives over conservatives if you never recognize how good things are when the conservatives aren't in power? We didn't appreciate the good while we had it. We didn't make sure everyone knew the good while we had it. And this is our punishment. I did my best, but the overwhelming majority of progressive voices out there, ones with magnitudes more platform than I have, just to the one of them alone, they weren't. They certainly weren't. I'm very disappointed in the left. I really am.
Peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day.
Liberation Day.
It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old.
That's not a lie. As much as you may want to contradict it, that's not a lie.
Men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural, and very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states, and the popular vote, we won by millions of people.
That's true.
To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream.
Cameraman panned to Kamala Harris and Biden after that. Savage. Yeah, like I said before, CNN is they've lost a massive amount of viewership because they took a hard pivot after Trump got elected, more towards MAGA. They're extremely favorable to Trump now. They're part of the sanity washing squad for Trump now.
A reality. We will make his dream come true.
We set records. Bro, Biden still has the most votes for president. The records he's referring to is that I don't think any Republican has ever had such a large proportion of the Black and Latino vote, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this was the highest outpouring of support from the Black and Latino voter base in America for a Republican in, like, I think ever. Especially Latino, yeah.
Okay.
They gotta chase that money? Really? You think that every single Black person and Latino that voted for Trump is like a right-wing grifter getting paid? No, I think people are just people regardless of their race, and people are often retarded.
National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country, we will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God.
Oh, the news? Fair, Natalie Wood. My bad.
Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our...
You know, there was a talking point I used to use a lot more back in the day, but I feel like I've said it less recently for pretty much no reason. But this is really the core of most right-wing rhetoric, is critical thinking is the right's enemy. And what I mean by that is hearing something and then really thinking about what you just heard. Like, does it actually make sense, though? Maybe even fact-checking it, if you really want to go far with it. Critically thinking is the enemy of every right-wing position. The idea that there is no more than two sexes, for instance. That idea is one that most people would call common sense, right? But if you actually think critically about it, or even go as far as to fact-check it, you find out about the existence of intersex people. And granted, most people think that intersex people are like trans or whatever, but regardless, like biological sex isn't even a binary, but most people think it is. They don't think critically about that, but the right has built up a massive amount of support around hating trans people because the idea that a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina, and if you are born that way, that is what you are, is just common sense. Don't think about it any more than that. Support the side that's just fighting for common sense. And you will very often hear, as a supporting argument for much of the right's positions, that it's just common sense. Many of them can't even really argue for it beyond saying that.
Common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border.
The line from Star Wars.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
That's fine. That will change literally nothing, but, I mean, okay. Nothing wrong with that.
And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation
I love Biden's smirk there, like, let's see him try.
The crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
That's right, guys. We lost the war against climate change. Humanity lost. Like, that was already decided, like, when Trump won, though. We found that out, like, months ago, that we lost the war against climate change. Biden, passed the most green climate policy of any president ever, invested the most money of any country in the world in green energy during his term, Trump protected like ridiculous amounts of land from drilling and mining operations. But Biden or Trump is like ran on repealing all of that day one. So like he said, drill baby drill, day one, all of those climate policies like coal. Biden had axed the coal industry, period. Many of you might not know this because the left refused to cover it. They had to push the Genocide Joe narrative for their money because none of you would click videos about stuff like this. But Joe Biden killed the coal industry. Coal produced 80% of America's carbon footprint per year and was going to be gone by 2030. Done, period. No more coal being burned by America. That would have eliminated 80% of America's carbon footprint. Trump announced months ago he was repealing that day one. That goes day one. It is insane how dangerous coal is. Trump is extremely pro-coal. So we're going to be burning more coal than ever now. Remember, they had to push the Genocide Joe narrative. Pro-Biden content just wasn't getting the clicks they wanted. So they had to do. Remember when I want to remind you of all these things while we're watching this, just so you know who to blame, frankly. Remember when I got shit from Vosh's community because my editor Ethan called out that Vosh was A/B testing thumbnails to see if ones that were neutral to Biden or fair to Biden or extremely negative to him got more clicks? And then, for those that don't know, A/B testing is when you make two thumbnails for a video and you upload both of them, and you select an option that has YouTube randomly show both thumbnails to different audiences, and then whichever thumbnail gets the most clicks is the one that YouTube sticks with for the video. People started to notice that Vosh's video thumbnails would change around out of nowhere, and my editor Ethan noticed this and told me what it was, because I hadn't noticed, but he knew what A/B testing was because he edits videos, he uploads them and stuff, and I called it out, and I think Vosh literally denied it. It's like, really? Like, my point isn't that A/B testing thumbnails is bad or anything. My point is that, like, Vosh actively made the decision of, like, okay, what gets the most clicks? This thumbnail that is honest and somewhat neutral towards Biden, or this thumbnail that's extremely negative towards him? You know what ended up doing better, and you know that the fact that that did better influenced his rhetoric in the following, like, year or so. And I called that out. But, you know, it is what it is. True, Vosh won Trump the election. Real. Now, in all honesty, I think Hassan carries far more blame. I'm just pointing out the trend, like the tendency that I'm talking about here. Like, you can hate the Democrats as much as you like, but if you're unwilling to give the public a reason to even look like those that support the Dems actually want them in power, if you can't sound like you don't hate them, then they're not going to hold any power for any amount of time, and this is what happens.
America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. Let me use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world.
We'll see about that.
We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal, and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate.
There it is. For those that don't know, Biden had signed the Green New Deal. Like they put together an actual, like a proper brand new Green New Deal, and we'd finally gotten into it. But Trump's getting us out of it all over again. Remember when he got us out of the Paris Climate Accords when he got elected the first time? Now he's axing the Green New Deal. Climate change won, guys.
Saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich.
You know, I could explain that America can't tax other countries because that's not what a tax is. But do you want to know what the average Trump supporter would say in response to that information? Exactly what the ones I've been having to ban from chat on YouTube have been saying, which is co-parter. They don't care. I don't even know if it's really about what Trump is saying actually happening. It might literally just be to trigger the libs. Because that's really all I see Trump supporters talking about them being excited in regards to when it comes to Trump being elected. They've kind of stopped talking about everything he ran on. It's just about how excited they are to see the libs be triggered.
Enrich our citizens. For this purpose,
for those who somehow at this point don't know, a tariff is when the U.S. government taxes a company that is receiving an import from another country. So for example, let's say Walgreens sells toothbrushes. They do that, by the way. And the toothbrushes are made in China and then sold in bulk by a Chinese company for retailers in the U.S. to buy, have shipped to their locations, and then stocked on the shelves for sale as individual things, right? What the U.S. then does with a tariff, in this case, in this example, is they tariff the import. So the company would be buying, say, a mass bulk order of toothbrushes manufactured in China, and when CVS or whatever wants to buy all of those toothbrushes, when they come in at customs, they are going to have to pay in Trump's example, let's say it's China, I think it's 25% tax on the import. The company, the American company, the retailer that wants to sell that thing will have to pay a 25% tax on that import when it enters the country at customs. And then it hits the shelves. What do you think that will do to the American people? Because you'll notice that in that definition of tariff, at no point was the Chinese company taxed. The only point in which the taxation even can happen is once American hands have received the good and are paying for the thing. Only American hands can pay a tax to America. Trump is literally promising more taxes openly, and he's wording it in such a way that the retarded American people, and I believe that fully, that is not hyperbole, Americans are retarded. The retarded American people hear, we're going to tax you, And Trump worded it in such a way, and Americans are so stupid, they don't know what a tariff is, they believe him when he says that them getting taxed is going to make them more money. And not in like the healthcare for all type way of like we all pay a little into a system and we all get something for it. No, literally just we're going to tax the other countries with tariffs. And they won't Google what a tariff is. They refuse to Google it.
We are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our Treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back.
Foreign sources. From foreign sources, guys. Now, there are other examples of where tariffs could apply, but in none of them will they benefit the American people. Let's say a Chinese company comes to America to sell Chinese electric cars, right? They manufacture them in China. They sell them from China here. But then again, they would have to be sold in the retailer, so you would be paying a double tariff. Either the company is getting, like either we're paying double tariff, or only the American company is getting tariffed. There is no universe in which China is the one getting tariffed. Unless these Chinese companies start opening up retail stores even, I don't think they're the ones getting tariffed. Because all these Chinese products, all these Mexican manufactured products, they're all sold here in America and they have to come into customs, and that's where, or Taiwan even, or wherever. All these things that are going to get tariffed, they come into America, and that's when the tariff happens, when they're bought by American businesses. And the businesses themselves are the ones tariffed. Do you think those businesses are going to take the 25% tax on the chin, or do you think we as the consumer buying things from those businesses are going to feel that price trickle down? Unless Trump is willing to cap all the prices, in which case God knows what that would do, which he won't do, of course, but still, it's going to be a nightmare.
Back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency.
Doge.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
I will sign an executive order to end all government censorship and brings free speech back to America. I don't know what that could be. I will say, by the way, Donald Trump in 2016 ran on the idea of expanding libel and defamation laws so it would be easier for people to sue others for saying things about them. So I'm pretty certain that might be what he's referencing. Like, everything that Trump says he's going to do, the outcome is always the opposite, right? And so when you consider that Trump ran and admitted that he was going to expand libel laws and slander laws so it would be easier for him to sue the media, and you hear him say, I'm going to sign an executive order that brings free speech back to America. If you know Trump, you know what that means is he's going to do exactly that. Like, and he's going to call it bringing free speech back to America.
Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
Law and order. Remember,
this week,
not only was he politically persecuted because he's literally a 34 times felon and is also a rapist and all, like, go down the list, but on top of that, he's bringing law and order back to our cities. So, you know, police state shit. From talking about how great freedom is to talking about how great a police state is.
I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based.
There you go. Remember, guys, remember, we live in a merit-based society, right? Acknowledging any anything like race or racial injustice or anything, that's the true racism. In fact, actually, later in the stream, I'll be covering a call-out video on me. Remember when I reacted to that video about how Uncle Roger and those comedians whose like entire thing is like Asian stereotypes might be problematic? A YouTuber made a video calling me out called, I believe it's called Progressives Want to Segregate Comedy. And the video essentially tries to claim that my position is racist, and that I am the real racist. This has been a popular talking point of the right for a while, to convince people that conservatism is the new progressivism, basically.
As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female.
Oh yeah, is it that black conservative guy? Yes, indeed, Galaxy Bomb. Aaron, get back on Roblox.
This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
How are you going to pull that off with all the tax cuts for the billionaires? Okay. Oh, guys, remember, this is a big one. The Department of Education is getting fully defunded. We lose the Department of Education as well. On top of that, every public school that mandates vaccines is getting defunded. Like entirely, all federal funding withdrawn from every public school that mandates any vaccines. So either public schools are going to have to stop requiring vaccines, or they're going to be shut down because they'll lose all their funding. This is like they've been planning this for a long time, like shutting down the public school system, so it's only private schools and yeah, just private schools. That's always been the plan. Yeah, no, like the Department of Education is gone, guys. Like there's not going to be public education by the end of the next 4 years. Like that is part of Trump's agenda. He has had it's been laid out very publicly. He said it with his own mouth.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies.
Oh, did he turn after that and wave to Biden and Kamala? I think they're on the other side of him. I don't think so. If he had done that, then that would be something I'd be surprised that there wasn't more attention on.
Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
Sorry, Ukraine. It was a good run, Ukraine. It was a good run. Palestinians,
my proudest legacy
run.
will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their...
Yep. All right. Biden signed that agreement. Are you ready to see Trump take credit for it? It's day one. It's time for Trump to start taking credit for Biden's accomplishments. Are you ready to see it? Day one. Accomplishment from Biden number one claimed, the hostage negotiations. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Day one, we're already taking Biden's accomplishments. The only cases in which we're ever going to see Biden's accomplishments acknowledged is when they're claimed by Trump. I can't wait for everyone to talk about the insulin price cap and how Trump did that 2 years ago. Remember 2 years ago when Trump was still somehow president when he capped insulin prices? Wasn't that crazy how Trump did that? Wasn't it crazy how Trump did all that stuff? Do you remember when Trump provided full free healthcare to veterans? Remember that? Oh man, I know it was a couple years ago, but somehow Trump still did it even when he wasn't president. Crazy, I know.
Their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will...
It's happening, guys. The Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America. He's doing it.
Will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy...
Ashram, I know you're Canadian. I don't think you realize our country is now 100% controlled by the far right. There is no area of Democrat control in federal government that can act as a safety rail. They can say and do whatever they want now. There's no one, it doesn't matter. He could literally pull out a gun and shoot someone in the crowd right now. He can't go to prison. That's not an exaggeration, by the way, guys. I'm not joking. He can take a gun out and blow someone's brains out in the crowd. He's the sitting president. That is an official act. You realize he's allowed to murder people on live television now as president. That is a thing he can theoretically do now. Which means that right now in the sitting state of the law, I guess he could theoretically have political opponents brought on stage and he could kill them publicly, and obviously he's allowed to do it. I think he's got that set. He could be the executioner legally right now, right? Because right now, anything, and it was already determined, things he does out of office are an official act because he's Trump and the Supreme Court is on his side and they make the decision. But right now, without any ambiguity whatsoever, Trump is fully legally immune, and anything illegal he does right now as president, post-inauguration speech, is an official act, right? People would cheer that on and go, wow, he's so cool. Of course they would.
Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after the United States. The United States, think of this, spent more money than ever spent on a project before and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form, and that includes the United States Navy. And above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
Okay, so to actually explain, the Panama Canal is the most useful shipping lane in the world. It's this long marvel of engineering, and it's a series of locks where basically you've got these walls that come up and they allow water to fill in, and then another one comes down, and you let ships pass through, and it's at the water levels change, and it's really cool because they have to rise ships up mountains and hills. It cuts through a slice of continent. And so it's this amazing marvel of engineering that, otherwise you have to completely circumnavigate all the way down past the tip of Chile. And then you can come back up into the Atlantic and access, Europe and Africa's west coast and stuff like that for the sake of trade. Mind you, if China wanted to trade with like any of that, wouldn't they just go around India? Like they would just go like through the Indian Ocean, I guess, but Trump seems to think the fastest way is across the Pacific and then through the Panama Canal and then across the Atlantic or up the coast, which is insane because the Pacific is like 2/3 of the planet. But Trump thinks that like annexing the Panama Canal or and then on top of that banning China from using it as a trade lane would matter. I don't even think China uses it that much, do they? I think I'm pretty certain he made up the whole China operates the Panama Canal thing. Do they even use it that much, though? They use it a lot. Okay, fair. I wonder how that's going to go. If we cut off, like, a line of China's trade, that would actually be a trade war move. But God knows what China's going to do to us in retaliation. Oh, man, dude. I'm so excited to go take my next vacation to the Gulf of America. I think I'll buy a boat and I'll take a day cruise down to the America Canal.
Above all, my message to Americans today is that it is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and disease-free. The United States will once again...
How are we going to do that if we defund every public school that mandates vaccines? Remember, they don't believe in vaccines. I swear, we're so close to Flat Earth being the mandated, like, thing that must be taught in schools. I'm pretty certain that we're gonna get to the point where you're gonna be called a libtard for thinking the Earth is round. Flat Earthers already call you a globetard if you think the Earth is round. It's interesting how much like the Flat Earth community and like the right-wing grift community have in common. Everything on the surface, but even like their way of referring to normal, correct people, they can't actually argue anything. So what they do, they call people who believe the Earth isn't flat globetards. A lot like how the right, came up with the term libtard, right? To sort of make it a shameful thing to be on the left. You don't need to argue against the left's position if you make it seem socially shameful to be progressive. Just like you don't need to argue with any actual science why the Earth is flat if you make it seem shameful to believe the Earth is round.
And consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American...
I remember Twitter went crazy when he said manifest destiny. People got hyped. For, like, the idea of manifest destiny is the idea that, like, America has a divine right to own land from the east to west coast. Manifest our destiny to the stars. It's the whole idea that America has the divine right to own, like Mars, obviously, is a big thing that he talks about here.
Astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Yep, there you go. We're going to manifest destiny to Mars, guys. Totally. Look at Elon. Oh, he's so happy. Dude, Baron Trump just looks embarrassed. That's crazy. How are you sitting with Elon next to you as like Trump's son and look this like unhappy to be there? Look at Elon. He looks like a happy child who's just gotten like whose mom just agreed that he doesn't have to eat his peas.
Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth.
The way he talks makes me want to hurl. You're going to have to get used to it. You're going to be hearing him a lot in the next 4 years.
One comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny, lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken.
The American people have indeed spoken. A bit over half of the voting ones, but the majority of the ones who came out to vote.
I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is
true.
what we do best.
Not wrong.
From New York to Los
wrong.
Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history.
Isn't it cool how we eradicated fascism back in the 1940s? Thank God, right?
With your help, we will restore America, promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We are going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the Lefty Dude's suicide posting in YouTube chat, I hope you know that every time you or anyone else of that mindset even expresses that sentiment, you make a, like, Trump supporter, like, no hands orgasm. Like, instantly. Like, they read it and they instantly no hands orgasm. And it's the best orgasm they've ever had in their life every time they read something like that. I hope you know that every time you express any of that, like, rhetoric, anything that's not, like, feigning strength, if you doom post at all, you are actively giving MAGA supporters no hands orgasms. Do not doom post. Do not doom post. I hate progressives. Not because you are ever wrong. Not because of any reason other than when you lose, when we lose, you're the sorest losers. Like you make it so clear you're mad. Like, you can't even just say GG and pretend you're not mad. Like, you have to be publicly mad about it to give, like, the right all the ammo, all the material that they want. Stop that, please. Most of you guys are perfect when it comes to that. You guys don't do that. Y'all are mostly pretty based. Obviously, I kind of curate a community of that. But there are people that I see doomering, and I hope you know that every time you doomer post, even if it's in private, somewhere there is some chud on an alt account or, like, a throwaway that's, like, watching just to see you doom post so they can no hands orgasm when they read it.
In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater.
Why the fuck would I pretend to not be upset about a fascist in power? I'm upset when the Dems win, too. The fact that you're upset when the Dems win is also why we're here, by the way. But also, pretend not to be upset. What do you think? Do you think the right are just better than you? Like, do you just think that, like, conservatives are better than you? Like, they can handle 4 years of their guy not being in power and pretending like they're not mad feigning like that they're faking it, winning until they actually make it. Like, do you think they're better than you because they can do that and you can't? I'm saying I don't vote for him. I'm not saying I don't vote for him, that it's just bittersweet. No, that's not what I'm saying. The main point that I'm making here is that, like, stop letting your instinct be to give up. Like, good Lord, feel challenged. Like, feel motivated. This is your life and the lives of everybody that you care about, the demographics you claim to fight for. And you're like, I guess we lost. It's all over. I give up. Oh, is that how much you cared about, like, POC and trans people and gay people and women's bodily autonomy? So much that you take one L and you feel shitty and you give up? That's how little you cared? It was just rhetoric for you, right? It was just, like, while it was popular, you were willing to say it, but now that it's not, and it's hard to be the good person, you're done? Really? Come on. Don't be a bitch. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Don't be a fucking bitch. If you are doomering about these results, quit being a bitch. Lock the fuck in. Are you mad about this situation? Upload a video, not where you angry rant, but instead one in which you sarcastically rib and take apart Trump's positions. Do what the right does. When the right lost, they spent up until Jan 6th, they ranted and they raved and they melted down. Don't get me wrong. But then after that, they locked in and they took over the internet and mainstream media environment to a degree the left could never imagine, and they won. All the while the left got complacent, they tuned out of politics, they tuned out of informing themselves and arguing against the right's ideas. To quote Westside Tyler, use your anger as a motivational tool. Exactly. It's straightforward stuff. Why would you want to throw in the towel against these people? Why would you ever do that? How could you ever live with yourself? How could you throw the groups whose rights and autonomy are now threatened due to Trump's election under the bus by throwing in the towel? Was it always ever just about you, if that's the case? It's so selfish. I don't know what else to say. It's selfish, is how I see it. We don't need to see the last couple minutes of Trump's speech. It's probably some dumb bullshit anyway. CNN couldn't be more pleased. Now, CNN has another years of programming all figured out. I just want the Americans watching this at home to not turn on each other. We as civilians need to stick together no matter what happens and not let the government control our opinions. CNN for the next 4 years is going to be the best comedy on earth. Search CNN and went straight to the comments. Saying those billionaires no longer have a home is wild. Kamala looked pissed, laughing, crying emojis. I wish Joe Biden was alive to see this, heart. This is not an inaugural speech. It's rather a roasting of the Democratic Party. That man is too funny, bro. Literally throwing sneak disses 30 seconds into the speech. I'm weak as fuck. Laughing, crying emoji. I wish Peanut was alive to see this. Justice for Peanut the squirrel. Elon, as soon as he heard Mars, lol. And then a time-stamped Elon smiling. These are the CNN comments. Everyone is, like, hyped for Trump. The internet is hyped for Trump. They are all on board, guys. The left has lost the internet. Go to the comments section for this and look at the comments, and you can see how much the left has lost. There are no comments criticizing Trump in the CNN upload of this inauguration. They doing Biden dirty with that camera, panning the camera to him right as he's dozing off to sleep, laughing, crying emoji. Elon's like, I'm going to Mars. Truly a great day for the entire world. Impossible is what we do best. I love him. For y'all happy or not happy, hope you know this fact. What you see is what you want, is what they want you to see. Waiting for the wealth for the lower and middle class, not for the billionaires. No more tax cuts for corporations. Waiting for the wealth for the lower class and middle class, not for the billionaires. No more tax cuts for corporations. You keep on waiting, Sally Smith. Right now, Joe is passed out unconscious and Jill is getting a massage from Rachel Madcow. Even with Trump in, I still do not trust our government, period. Look at that. No matter what. See, now when anything bad happens, it won't be Trump's fault. It'll be our government's fault, even though it's all MAGA. I think Biden and Harris's legs are broken, laughing crying emoji. Said everything he had to say right in front of Biden and Harris. Priceless, heart. Congratulations, President-elect Donald Trump. Good luck and God bless the USA. Please help protect the Philippines from Chinese aggression. Oh yeah, for those that don't know, I've got a few friends that are like in the Philippines. The boomers in the Philippines are massively pro-Trump. Massively, massively so. Like everyone Gen X and older is like fully MAGA. There's like not really obviously there's not really any Biden supporters in the Philippines, but among Gen X and older in the Philippines, hardcore support for Trump. Why the fuck? Listen, all right, no one from the Philippines is going to call me racist for saying this, but the Philippines is a very backwards country, okay? Their leadership is a government propped up by the U.S. that is more fascist than Trump's government is probably going to be. And on top of that, it's extremely corrupt. It is, living conditions in the Philippines, fucking horrific, okay? Like it ranges from you live in the slums, you live in literal stilt houses in a village where in an ideal situation you could live off the land and things would be fine, but there is also massive amounts of pollution in the Philippines, which makes the land that a lot of indigenous peoples live off of there impossible to live off of, making it harder to acquire food and clean water. And so like even if you live like far from where there's anything, you're still living in fucked up situations. Like there is a very small proportion of people that are living like an America quality of life in the Philippines. On top of that, education isn't all that great. It is a very, conservative country in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, because of that, everyone Gen X and older tends to support Trump in the Philippines. It's a big problem. So yeah, that's why I'm not surprised by that comment. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me. This is America. And we're back. We are so back, guys. Well, I won't say to like this segment if you enjoyed it, or found it entertaining or enjoyable, because I know you didn't find any of those things besides maybe entertaining. But if you are willing to support, I'm going to be shameless about it now. Not even because it's shameless, but because it's the truth. And I've been a little bit shy of sounding shameless and saying this overtly, but I'm just going to say it overtly, okay? Trump got into power, first and foremost, because of the right-wing domination of the alternative media landscape online. If we are going to stop this, it is going to require that the left achieve something that rivals it. Now, I want to be very clear. Donating or providing financial support to a content creator does nothing to support that goal. You do not need to donate, you do not need to sub, or any of those things. That's not a thing that helps beat the right, to be very clear. Not asking for money. But if you hit that like button, you leave likes on my videos, you comment, and you subscribe and ring the bell icon if you haven't already, that is the best way to help left-wing content like mine get pushed in the algorithm to more people. Listen, I've complained about it in the past, but I think here it's time to really point it out. How's the stream doing right now? Just for a point of example. Let me go to the live stream. Let's look at the current numbers. Right now, we have an amazing 320 people watching the stream. But do you want to guess how many people? And mind you, that's not counting the probably 2,000 people that have come in and left. Do you want to know how many of those, 2,000 people hit the like button? 125 of them. The left will not succeed with numbers like this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's just as simple as the left will never succeed with numbers like that. It's all about algorithms, and the algorithms are all numbers, and the numbers are affected directly by every individual choosing to be the change they want to see, to say, I am going to make my engagement with this content or any content on the left, I'm going to make my engagement a drop in the bucket that helps us counter the right wing's domination of the internet. I got you, homeboy. I'll give you a dislike. Hell yeah. See? Even dislikes help, honestly. Because it's not nothing. Gonna like the stream, BRB? There you go. I appreciate the likes. And listen, if you did enjoy the stream, leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell icon, all that good stuff. It is the best way to support the channel. But don't just do it for me. Like I said, we have an entire monolith of right-wing domination of the media we have to counter. And the only way to do that effectively is going to be a wide net, okay? Supporting me is not enough, okay? It's just not. Hell, not even just supporting the creators that are already out there is enough. There aren't enough creators. Have you ever been told by someone that you've got a nice voice? Or that, like, when you talk, you quote-unquote sound like a YouTuber? Or have you ever been told you're a good speaker? Or are you good at giving speeches? These are all skills that are massive predictors of likely talent in content creation. This is not about just supporting the content creators that exist. It's not just about supporting me. If you have ever heard those compliments about yourself, and that's not everybody here, but if you have, consider making content. It can start as just filming videos on your phone and uploading them on YouTube. Building a small audience is better than having no audience, okay? Make your voice heard. But it's not just about making your voice heard. Your voice cannot be you screechingly yelling about how you're upset about these election results. You need to do what worked for the right. Do what worked for the right. Obviously, don't bound into the areas of moral negativity, right? Like, don't lie and be a piece of shit, but like the rhetoric, the talking points, the vibes that work for other people, that is what you need to use. That is what we need. Anyway, guys, with that said, I really appreciate your support as always. Of course, if you want to support me directly and help to keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, you can always donate, subscribe, or gift a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or you can support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can buy some Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below in the description. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you in the next video.